let's get back to Brandon's comment here. I wanted to talk about this a little later, but we'll do it now. We'll do it now. So Brandon says, the bear pundits amaze me. They're so convinced that we're all dumb and they are the adults in the room. Yet all the smartest people in the world own Bitcoin. Okay. So I'm sure you guys have heard, I think it was Greg Foss that actually coined this phrase. And he said that Bitcoin is an IQ test, which sounds very arrogant, especially if it's a Bitcoiner who's saying it. But it's true. And the reason I wouldn't say that it's necessarily true in the sense that one group is intelligent, one group is dumb. There's just different mentalities and thinking. That's all it is. And so if you think about how the difference between Bitcoiners and people who don't own Bitcoin, pre-coiners, how they think. One think it's okay that a small group of people have access to a money printer and they can print some for themselves. They can print some for their friends. They decide where the money goes to. People who don't hold Bitcoin, either they don't even know what is happening or they believe that that's okay. Bitcoiners, on the other hand, believe that you need a sound money standard. Money has to be hard. The hardest money we've ever had before was gold, and things were pretty well on a gold standard. Up until 1913, when they created the Federal Reserve, things were pretty good. That was the most prosperous time in our known history anyways, when we were on that standard, when we had a hard money. So that's what Bitcoiners believe. But you take it one step further from gold, Bitcoin is far superior to gold because it's inelastic of demand, which means that no matter how many people want to hold Bitcoin, no matter how many people are trying to buy Bitcoin, we cannot create more Bitcoin. So one side is okay with printing money, one side is not. But if you think about the mentality there and the proof of work, and if Bitcoin does what we think it's going to do in terms of reprice everything, think about who's holding the wealth, the future wealth right now. It's Bitcoiners. And those people, all of those Bitcoiners, believe in proof of work. They've done the work to understand Bitcoin. So not only do they believe in the proof of work protocol, but they believe in order to understand something, in order to actually earn something, you have to put in the work. You have to put in the time. You have to understand this thing. It's not easy to do. It takes time. So those people, those Bitcoiners, the people who believe in a proof of work world are going to be the ones who are holding the wealth. They're going to have the influence in the future. And think about how different society is going to look when you have people like that who are influencing people versus the vampires, the corruption, the centralized parties that we're used to living in now for the last 100 years. The fiat is the root cause of everything that's wrong with society right now. A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people feel it, but they don't know that it's money that's causing that. So all of a sudden you have this flip from the vampires, the corruption, the centralized people running and influencing the world versus the people who believe that you have to put in energy, you have to put in work to create money. You can't just print it. And those are two much different paths, much different societies. So I wouldn't say it's like an IQ test, but it is a major change in people's view of the world and the long-term vision of the world. And the fiat has trickled into our food, our health, the quality of everything, our products, our infrastructure. Whereas you flip that on its head, and all of a sudden we start eating better, we start living better, we start making better quality products, not just the cheapest we can find. And that flows into the infrastructure too. Houses aren't built in 6 months. Nothing's built in 6 months. The only way that happens is if you're using the cheapest materials and you're cutting corners. So we're going to move away from that. It's going to take a little bit of time, but when Bitcoiners have the wealth, when Bitcoiners have the influence, the world's going to look much different. So don't think about it as like smart and not smart people. Think about it as like two different visions of the world. One's cheap, centralized, fast as you can, exploiting. And then the other side is fair, honest, open, long-term view, high quality, proof of work. It's much different, much different.